This is Isaiah Thomas. And this is Gritty Shorts the Fourth. A lack of height is seen as something of an impediment with dating, reaching for shelves, but especially in the National Basketball Association.
Here we go. I'm pulling for this little guy.
But that doesn't have to be the case.
As a little kid growing up in the city of Baltimore, all I just wanted to do was play basketball. Just wanted to play basketball, not knowing they would come with so much criticism.
Gritty Shorts is the illegitimate son of Celtics legend Brian Scalabrine, one of the best to ever do it. Shorts was drafted first overall by his father's team, and he has the chance to make him proud. Ahead of Gritty's first game in the NBA, he spends time reflecting in the locker room, thinking of all the short kings that paved the way for this moment. Isaiah Thomas, Earl Boykin, and Muggsy Bogues. There's no better stage for a debut than Madison Square Garden, and Gritty starts on the right note, finding Jason Tatum for the first 2 assists of his career, proving you can have great court vision, even if your sightline is at dick height for most players. After Tatum very rudely grabs a board over Gritty, Shorts the Fourth lines up for a contested 3 and misses the mark. It's a tough sequence for the Grit man, who cedes position to RJ Barrett in the post, fires short on a close shot, and bricks a long J. The slump? Well, it continues. But Shorts absorbs a heap of contact and gets to the line, knocking down his first free throw. Point number 1 in the NBA, but is unable to sink the second shot. But this is a man who doesn't need the charity stripe to score, and Gritty gets Emmanuel quickly to bite on a pump fake before laying it home, his first field goal. He gives it another try behind the arc, but it rims out, and Shorts is unable to quell his leprechaun temper and commits a reach-in foul. But he composes himself long enough to lead Jaylen Brown to the rim, then records the first steal of his career. And believe it or not, he did it with his tiny little ass. Shorts finds that his T-Rex arms make it nearly impossible to defend open shooters, but he keeps on trucking into the heart of the defense, where he valiantly makes half of his free throw attempts. The first half may have been slightly underwhelming, but after the intermission, he's ready to rise to the challenge. They said it couldn't be done, but Shorts collects his very first rebound. But the NBA conspires against our short king, blowing the whistle on an over-the-back foul and, once again, on an illegal screen. He might be small, but he packs a mighty punch. Gritty exploits the pick and roll, finding Tatum for an open bucket, but he's struggling to find his mark from downtown. Randall dunks our hero back into the Stone Age, but Porzingis picks him up with a pair of points in the paint. One too many times to the well, and the lob goes wayward, and Gritty compounds his troubles with yet another turnover. Maybe the post-up J was not the best option, but Shorts has speed on his side, and he dashes to the rim. Gritty finds out the hard way that you can't shoot over a man twice your size, but he doesn't give up, and 60-year-old Al Horford finds the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Despite an impressive debut for young Shorts the Fourth, the Celtics are no match for the rival Knicks, and they fall in the first game of the season. As Boston has now learned, MSG is no Garden of Eden. But tiny strides are not made in front of adoring crowds. The step-by-step of careful progression is made in the lonely gym, where iron sharpens iron, and the skillful hand meets leather. I don't want to get demonetized, so I switched the Rocky music to a copyright-free track. But rest assured, the only payment Gritty is making is through blood, sweat, and tears. The journey continues, and Shorts the Fourth will be making his home debut against the reigning Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat. Gritty may be the perfect example of Heat culture, but unfortunately for the snow-blowing residents of South Beach, the only colors this man bleeds from his nose are green and white. Gritty draws first blood with an assist inside to Jaylen Brown, but a mistimed jump by Porzingis halts an early run. Shorts is pulling down rebounds left and right, but even the tidiest of glass cleaners cannot pull down the shot, which goes through the net. And Miami is heating up from downtown. The Heat are scoring points 3 at a time, but this is a marathon, not a race, and Gritty is content to score 1 by 1. The outside shot won't fall, but amidst the heat there is an oasis waiting near the rim, and you must slip inside the eye of your mind, because don't you know you might find a better place to play. The Heat's Wonderwall defense reaches high to stop a Gritty pass, but he responds by going low and finds old man Horford for the corner 3. But when a strong effort fails and Goliath beats David at the rim, the half ends on a wing and a prayer. They say the dollar is king, but in the NBA, the greatest currency is the almighty dime. And Gritty begins the half by spreading the wealth to his teammates. And there's plenty to go around. Even the Heat are ready to make a donation, and Shorts makes a quick deposit at the charity stripe. Sometimes too much time is a bad thing, and Gritty rushes an open 3 from the corner. A dark cloud is approaching, and unfortunately, even the best marksmen know that when it rains, it pours. And even though Shorts is surrounded by the Heat, a chill approaches, and our hero goes ice cold in the fourth quarter. But even when you're struggling to find your rhythm, it's important to end the game on a high note. Unless, of course, you run into someone lower. Lowry. Alright, fuck it, that didn't really work, but I'm keeping it in. On this night, the Celtics can't handle the Heat, and Miami prevails at the TD Garden. After the game, a pair of shock jocks discuss whether Gritty has the potential to become the GOAT, the greatest of all time. It's one of those questions that's almost insulting to ask. After Short's 10-point outburst against Miami, there should be no doubt, and Gritty will soon be on the NBA's Mount Rushmore with Jordan, LeBron, and his father, Brian Scalabrine. The game asks Gritty how he'd like to use his skill points, which begs the classic philosophical conundrum. Is it possible to improve on perfection? Another night, another showdown in front of the home crowd in Boston, where Gritty is primed to explode for 11 or perhaps 12 points. It's all business in the tunnel, but back in the locker room, it's clear the Nets are planning a hostile takeover. Step 1 of that business plan is simple: get Gritty on his heels. But sometimes when you can't turn a profit, the only thing that can save you is a bailout. And this one comes courtesy of Kristaps Porzingis. But life in the big city isn't for everyone, and every now and then, you fall flat on your back. When you're playing Brooklyn, it only makes sense to see a biggie versus a Smalls. And in a musical battle down in the paint, D Sharp provides the hook. Gritty gets on the board, running the baseline turnaround to perfection. Ben Simmons, however, will provide a tougher challenge. Simmons wins rounds 1 and 2, but Gritty sticks with it, looking like a different Simmons, Gene, with a kiss off the glass. Shorts is in the giving mood, and Gritty Claus begins handing out assists to 2 of his big elves, Sam Hauser and Al Horford. But don't feel left out, Jason Tatum. Gritty's got something for you, too. On the other end, Simmons may not know how to shoot, but he's mastered the art of the dunk. It's Gritty who teaches Simmons a masterclass on marksmanship, and young Shorts knocks down the first long ball of his career. He can talk the talk, and he can walk the walk. But just when he's feeling too cocky, Gritty hits a net defender right between the legs. And on the other end, Simmons and Sharp make him pay for it. Boston needs a run, badly, and Shorts is spearheading the charge. When they need it in the third quarter against the Nets, the Celtics are finding nothing but. It's inevitable that when you play a Brooklyn team, you're going to run into bridges. And on this play, Shorts pays a hefty toll. Porzingis may be from Europe, but even he should know that headers are reserved for soccer. But there's no offsides in basketball. And Gritty races past the defense, pushing his point total to 16. In the fourth quarter, the long shot just isn't falling, but the paint remains uncovered, and Tatum, Shorts, and Holiday are brushing up against greatness. Ultimately, this game belongs to the Brooklyn Nets, and by the fourth quarter, this game is completely out of reach. The Celtics have fallen for the third straight game, this time in a 30-point blowout, and the only thing they can do to make it right is go back to basics. The deadliest of shooters aren't just born that way. It takes hours upon hours behind the arc to hone that killer accuracy. When no one is watching, except for, a few reporters, the grit man looks down the barrel and begins firing away. Allen Iverson once scoffed at the idea of practice, but practice makes perfect. And that's why our hero is the way that he is. And it's this type of action that calls for a montage. Ready to solidify his status as an international superstar, Gritty stamps his passport and makes his way across the border to the Great White North. But even with safe arrival through the bottom of the net, you can expect a few bumps over the Canadian Rockies. They say that Canadians are polite, but with a start like this in Toronto, it appears the home crowd might be in for a rude awakening. But in the midst of the second quarter, the boys from Toronto stop apologizing, and it's Shorts who's left feeling sorry for himself. There are no such things as dimes in Canada. There are just loonies and toonies, and even with a double team on his back, Gritty says, "That's all, folks," and finds Porzingis for the bucket. Shorts' Porzingis is starting to resemble that of Stockton and Malone, except no one in this duo has f***ed the minor. Gritty may have the stature of a 13-year-old girl, but he takes contact like a man and gets to the line to draw Boston closer in the third quarter. On this play, one turnover begets another, and Gritty responds by finding open Celtics left, right, and center, as Boston staves off extinction against the Raptors. With the score tied at 69 in the fourth quarter, Gritty's advances are rejected, but a step-back three from Jason Tatum and a slam dunk by Jaylen Brown gives Boston a late lead. A clutch bucket from Pascal makes Boston Siakam to their stomach, and Gritty is so ill that he vomits up a bad shot that gets purged by Anunoby. But on the next possession, he throws up a lob to Kristaps Porzingis. With less than 30 seconds in the game, it's Jakob Poeltl who gives the Raptors the late advantage, and the Toronto sideline schemes up ways to slow down Shorts in a do-or-die situation. I'd narrate the rest of this one, but I want to kick it over to local Boston radio for the call of this dramatic finish.
There's just 19 seconds left in this one, and the Celts need a bucket to win. Porzingis will inbound the ball to Holiday. Gritty Shorts calls for the ball himself, and he gets it with 15 seconds to go. Shorts waves off everyone. He's going to do this himself. Porzingis sets up the screen. Gritty drives. He stops. He shoots. And oh, that was bad. That was bad. Shorts is no longer the GOAT. Tom Brady is still the GOAT. Oh my. 6 rings. 6 rings, everybody. Kiss my ass.
The Celtics fall in the final moments, but not even Michael Jordan, or the White Mamba himself, made every game winner. But Boston has now lost its 4th straight game, and their flight back home will surely be a turbulent one. Gritty takes some time to himself, cruising the streets of Boston, where there are definitely palm trees. He's known for his positive outlook, but every now and then, sunshine and rainbows give way to dark clouds.
I mean, if you're under 6 feet tall, you're less likely to go on dates, get promoted at your job, be any good at basketball, be intelligent, or just in general be good at anything, you short loser.
It's just a genetic thing. They want tall guys.
Under 4 minutes remain in Memphis, and the Celtics trail by 6 points. But Gritty is able to cut under the defense, pump fake, and draw Boston within 4. On the next possession, he uses a screen by Tatum, and once again, gets to the rim. When Gritty and Porzingis knock the ball loose from Ja Morant, Shorts leads Tatum to the basket for the and one. It's now just a 1-possession game. It appears all hope is lost when Jaren Jackson is there to beat Gritty to his spot, but Kristaps Porzingis is waiting patiently, and he's able to clean up the mess. But Shorts is unable to return the favor, and Morant takes the ball away. On the other end, Derek White preserves the tie, while Gritty sprints to his post, takes aim, and shoots. Celtics by 3. Memphis needs a bucket, and Ja Morant misfires, but Steven Adams is there to provide covering fire. The Celtics stretch the lead when Porzingis stretches to catch the Shorts lob and slams it home. Not to be outdone, Morant and Adams return with an alley-oop of their own. If Boston can simply make 2 free throws, they can put the Grizzlies away, but nothing is ever that simple. After Gritty shrivels at the line, Ja Morant hangs his nuts for all of the league to see. With 5.8 seconds left, Boston is gunning for the lead and the win, but in the most important juncture, Gritty jams up and misses the mark. As Leonardo DiCaprio proved in The Revenant, it's possible to survive a Grizzly attack. And though Gritty is young enough to date Leo, he's got a veteran's mentality that he takes to Charlotte, dressed for redemption in his little suit and little tie. It seems that everything is falling for Gritty in the first half. He's got 16 points and is on pace for a new career high. This is a franchise where Muggsy Bogues once dominated the court, and on this night it appears that Shorts is coming for his tiny throne. For the time being, this hive belongs to Gritty, but if you mess around and kick the hornet's nest, you're going to get stung. And in the second half, Shorts is beginning to look like he's allergic to the bottom of the net. Charlotte is getting horny, while the Celtics go completely flaccid. The Hornets begin to pull away in the Spectrum Center, and the Celtics have now suffered their 6th loss in a row. Gritty needs a small victory, and back at his lavish high-rise in Boston, he draws inspiration from his father, the great Hall of Famer.
And here comes, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the White Mamba. Taj comes out, and the crowd is going crazy.
Down in Orlando, the Celtics need a little bit of magic, and there's nothing more enchanting than the national anthem.
For the land of the free and the home of the
After a rousing rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, there's a star in pinstripes looming on the other side of the court, Paolo Banchero. Last year's Rookie of the Year will face this year's leading candidate in Gritty Shorts IV. Facing the Magic, it's Gritty who's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He's not wearing sleeves, but if he did, there would be tricks up them, rest assured. But sooner or later, this magic moment is bound to fade away, and Gritty can no longer turn this game into a one-man show. On the defensive end, Gritty shows some quick sleight of hand and pokes the ball away from Banchero, getting to the line, where he sinks a free throw. Unlike the end of the Memphis game, Shorts is hitting on his shots from the line, but so is Banchero, and the Magic have made the Celtics lead disappear. The first half ends, and the Magic go into the locker room with a 5-point lead. The third quarter features more of the same. This game is slowly becoming the Paolo Banchero show, and Gritty is reduced to a bit part. But on this play, Shorts does a fine job of acting on the pump fake and gets Cole Anthony to bite before laying it home. As Gritty watches, the Celtics' second unit is directing a masterpiece, retaking the lead in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And Shorts does his part to keep it going, finding old man Horford on an alley-oop before hitting a cutting Porzingis on the way to the hoop. I didn't realize that rhymed until I said it, but I'm keeping it in. Gritty and Kristaps are a duo for the ages, and like Penn and Teller, they'll be the ones doing the magic tricks on this evening. After dishing it out all game, it's time for Gritty to eat, and he drops in a bucket that pushes the Celtics' lead to 6 with just a minute to go. The Celtics are putting their finishing touches on this work of art and closing out this game at the line. After 6 straight defeats, it appears 7 is the magic number, and Gritty smells victory. In the name of all short kings, Gritty dribbles out the win, and against a team who wears Disney on their chest, Orlando is now the happiest place on earth for these Boston Celtics. A man who measures in at just 5'7" is now standing on top of the world, and on the tropical streets of Boston, Massachusetts, Gritty makes a victory cruise as he reflects on his small, yet massive achievement. Even though he's the bastard child of Brian Scalabrine and Snooki, thanks to one wild night in Atlantic City, he knows that deep down his father is proud of him, even though he doesn't even call him on his birthday. But on this boardwalk on the Boston shore, there's a new white mamba, and his name is Gritty Shorts IV.